Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for making a little time out of your mornings to join us here on the morning show that is Lions Talk Live. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. We need about 8 more subscribers, 9 more subscribers to hit 4,900, and really trying to make a push to get to 5,000 either before this Saturday's game or the regular season finale against the Minnesota Vikings. If you'd be willing to help out with that, I surely would be thankful and appreciative with both. Don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up like button. One last thing before we get going into this morning's show. If you were not aware, outside of being a coach and a YouTuber / scout for athletics overseas, I'm also a realtor. Have been for over 30 years. Work all throughout the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, over in Detroit. I know some of you guys reach out to me. It seems like more and more from the northern part of Michigan and from the greater Detroit area. Feel free to give me a call or a text. Let me see if I can use over 30 years in the industry, help save you some money, make the process a whole lot easier. And if nothing else, you've got somebody who's going to work on your behest to make sure you understand any of the rights or wrongs of the property, things you should do or look out for to avoid. So give me a call, shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. All right, now let's get moving and shaking because you know what? Hey, as you saw from the thumbnail, Lions have a real shot here. And we all know we still have whatever it is, a 5% chance to get the number 1 seed. And there's a lot of scenarios that are starting to play out where I think it's a real possibility the Lions could get the number 2 or 1 seed. So let's begin with this. Detroit needs to handle their own business first. They need to go ahead and go down to Dallas. They need to get what's going to be a very difficult win. But a win that, would tell us a lot about this team. How much have the offensive and defensive coordinators grown up? How much has this team matured from a year ago when we were 1-6? We all know the story. Finish off strong. And now we've won 20 games in 2 seasons, the most in franchise history during that span. And that really needs to say something. Not many teams are going to win 20 games over the course of a 2-year span. But you know what? For the Lions and all their success in the 40s, 30s, and 50s to have achieved something now that they've never done before, that says something about the direction of this team. Win at Dallas, again, no easy task, but now you're going to keep more pressure on the 49ers. It depends on your point of view, but what do you want the 49ers to do in that last game of the regular season? Do you want them to have to fight to win against the Rams? If they do that, they probably get the number 1 seed. If they don't do that, then that chance for us to get the number 1 seed jumps exponentially. So let me know your thoughts on that. Do you want the Lions to be number 2 or number 1? Do you see an advantage to one over the other, etc.? Let me know your guys' thoughts, as I'm sure you will. All right, let's get over to the comments section, get this thing going. Boo, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. What's the latest on Decker? I know him and a few of guys have got a little bit of nicks and such. I think today will be the big tell as far as the injury reports. You see something on there, then that's probably going to start being a trend. I know they gave him and a number of other guys a little bit lighter workload or even a full day off yesterday, second in a row. He's battling a little bit of a groin injury. It obviously wasn't anything significant enough to keep him out of last weekend's game. So I'm thinking it's probably a slight pull and such. They're going to do their due diligence, help him rest it up. Losing him for the game, though, would be a significant blow, as I'm sure we can all agree. But watch today's injury report. To me, that's going to be the big one. All right, Robert, good morning, coach and crew. Same to you, Robert. Hopefully you're having a do one. Michael, greetings and salutations, coach and do crew. Go Lions. Go Michael. Go Lions. Hopefully everybody's having a good one. I know a few of you guys messaged me yesterday about the web page or whatever that Jen has put together. I think she's got 1 or 2 more details to figure out. She actually showed it to me yesterday. It looks great. I mean, I know some of you guys have asked for the T-shirts or sweatshirts and all that jazz. It's all going to be on there. And, once it is, I guess, fully ready, I'll let you guys know about it. But, yeah, you should be able to find it. But again, it's not done yet, but it's lionstalklive.com or something like that. All right. Robert G., from what I've heard, Decker is just getting a much needed rest and should be ready to go Saturday night. Yeah, Robert, I would agree with that. They're doing their due diligence with a few of the veteran players, especially offensive linemen, because again, you get to this point in the year, they've been through it. They've been run over by a truck, several times over. They're going to try to keep them as fresh as possible going forward. My personal opinion, Lions are really in a no-lose situation when it comes to things. You win this game at Dallas, you're going to be able to, obviously fight for the number 2 seed in the final game of the regular season. And more than likely, it's looking like Minnesota Vikings might not have a shot even at the playoffs. So how much are they going to be really going forward, playing hard in that game, etc., versus somebody who is? To that point also, Dallas Cowboys, they cannot advance unless it would take just a monumental chain of events to happen for the Dallas Cowboys to secure the NFC East, which means, they, other than trying to get rid of the 2-game losing streak, defend the home turf, all that stuff, they're not really playing for anything this particular weekend. So there are some things lining up for the Lions for sure. Now, can they get everything to line up? Where do they get the number 2 or number 1 seed? That we'll have to wait and see. All right, David, what do you got? Wow, I actually made a live show. Good morning, everyone. Well, good morning to you too, and hopefully you're enjoying the show, man. Thanks for making it. All right, Jason, number 1 seed, 1 win. Win out 2. Okay, number 1 seed, number 1, win out. Number 2, 49ers lose or tie one of their last 2 games. Rams have a shot that last game. I agree with you, Jason. Man, that last game of the regular season, I won't be surprised if they try to move that to the last game, sort of like they did with the Lions and Packers a year ago. With all the hoopla that's going to be around that game, how it's going to impact things. To me, from a marketing standpoint, why wouldn't you want to move that to the 8-15 game on the final game, or weekend of the regular season? That could be really something there. And to your point, that's gonna have a lot of eyes on it for multiple different cities. All right, Southwest Line. Good morning, all. If Goff is under center, he doesn't have to hand the ball off. He can also hand off in shotgun. Don't be predictable. Yeah, and I think they're going to see Goff move around in a couple different formations, especially against this team. I did watch some video on them, on the Cowboys, I should say, yesterday, and trying to pay attention to tendencies, things of that sort. Micah Parsons, I've never really had a reason to watch him in depth since he wasn't a Detroit Lion. But I'll say this. He does not handle the run game incredibly well. The other thing I want you to pay attention to is, as ideal pass rusher as he is, one of the reasons he's not effective, in my opinion, in the run game is check out his arm size, as far as length, I should say. He just does not have the prototypical build for an NFL edge / linebacker. He's got the speed. He's got, a lot of things going for him in pass rushing. He reminds me in a lot of ways of James Houston. James Houston, conversely, is also not ideal for stopping the run game. If I'm the Lions, one, I probably run away from him. So if he's lined up at end on the left side, I'm probably running to the right side. The other part is when he gets contact and generation up, there's generated run blocking or, contact. He's just not good at shedding in the run game. So I think you'll see the Lions purposely either have 2 go at him or run opposite of him. So I'll try to do more in-depth details for you guys throughout the rest of the week. But I was really not impressed, or I guess you could even say caught off guard by how bad he is in the running game. So I do think you have a real potential there to go at him. Will Dallas take him off the line, which I've been surprised the last 2 games. They kept him on the line of scrimmage, and in the running game, he kept getting blasted. And again, this is my opinion. It's also part of the reason why I know the Lions did not want to start James Houston and went with Charles Harris earlier in the year, and for these same reasons. These guys are a lot more similar than I probably ever realized. So something for us to pay attention to. All right, Brent, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Should be a great game Saturday night. Pound the rock, Lions 31-21. I would take that in a heartbeat, Brent, and glad you're back on the morning show. So, all right, Robert, let's go, Coach. Can we get a morning? Woo! I still got to do the Ric Flair show one of these days. It's been a minute. So, Trump, do you think Jones will entertain the refs on the hooker bus this time? Man, that's a good question. It's been a few years since the whole refs in Dallas on the bus with Jerry, but I would think the NFL's probably talked to him about it and said, yeah, that's probably not such a wise idea to do that anymore. All right, Boo, what is the most important thing the Lions defense needs to address against the Cowboys? Lamb or Pollard? I'm going to say with Probably see Lamb, yeah. Probably take him out of it first. I just think we've got enough stuff up front, the way we're formed, to help stop the running game without sending additional resources to it. So now it's going to come down to generating pressure on Dak, and then also keeping the receivers at bay. All right, Silver Surfer, good day, Coach, and to all the listeners, same to you, Silver, and hopefully you're having a good one. Hopefully you're doing well. Brett, gotta stop Lamb, or at least try and limit his production. Yeah, and especially after what happened last week with Jefferson, especially on third and whatever it was, 27. Yeah, you got to find better ways to eliminate the number one options from teams. And that'll be one of the tests for Aaron Glenn this week. All right, Trump, I say blitz right off the get. Let that stick in Zach's head. I'll go with that. Yeah, get after him. And you guys know my mantra, man. Keep pressure on people all day long. Keep hitting them, and not just on defense, but on offense too. Keep throwing those deep passes. Keep things off kilter. Never allow opponent to really kind of get comfortable and relaxed where they can start picking up your tendencies. When you have no tendencies, that makes it very difficult. And on defense, though, I'm with you, Trumps, that I'd be blitzing probably, if it was me, probably 75% of the time or right around there. And always coming from different spots and areas. We did a very good job against the Vikings, I thought, overall, keeping their system, their defense at bay. With that being said, I would still utilize something like that just because you never know really where the rushers are coming from. And to me, that's a huge advantage for the defense if you can keep it unpredictable. All right, Southwest, stop the run, contain Lamb. You're not going to 100% stop Lamb. No. Any player worth their salt in the league, you're never going to stop them fully. You're never going to stop him. You can only hope to contain him. Use the old Chris Berman thing. All right, Southwest. What I like about AG's presser yesterday, it seemed like a light bulb has gone off for him. He understands he needs to mix things up and play to the talents of his personnel. Yeah, and if you think back to like last year when they went on the big streak, the big run towards the middle of the year and to the end of the year, the defense was one of the bigger contributing factors to it. They were very aggressive. They played a ton of man. They put pressure on the other teams. Yes, some of that was because James Houston's emergence and, 2 or 3 other things, but they've kind of gone back to that at least a little bit. I think they probably ultimately have more defenders in the secondary who can play man-to-man and sound man-to-man than they did last year, but they don't have those guys coming off the edges quite to the same extent they did a year ago that could get pressure without blitzing. So I do think that you'll see continued pressure being brought from AG. It's just going to come down to, is he going to keep using Melifanu? Is he going to use other guys? Can some of the defensive line help emerge and get more flushes? These are things we'll have to watch, especially going into the postseason. All right, Robert, I do believe this is going to be a back and forth game, very competitive, and I believe the Lions will be taking care of business. And I hope they're not working overtime. But anyways, I do think you're right. I think it's going to be a very physical game. Both teams are going to be pretty beat up after this one. The best thing I could say for the Lions is if you get the win and it's as physical as I'm anticipating, you get to come home for the final game of the regular season. And, that is a big advantage that you don't have to go back on the road going into the weekend. You don't have to get on planes and take off on a Friday. Yeah, you'll be able to rest just a little bit better. And hopefully, like I said earlier in the show, hopefully Minnesota doesn't have any reason to really play other than pride, I guess you could say, or people trying to put stuff on film for future employers. Michael, if our defense plays lights out and the offense plays smash mouth, the number 2 seed is ours. I agree, man. There's I don't remember all the reasoning for it, but the Lions win here. They get some of them tiebreakers that, more likely, as long as they win out, they'll get the number 2 seed. All right, Brett Lamb will get his yards. I agree he's going to get some yards, but hopefully we can keep his big gainers to a minimum. I agree. Hopefully just not have another Jefferson type moment like last week where, hey, Jefferson, I get he may be, if he's not the best receiver in the NFL currently, he's probably in the top 3 or 4. And, don't let Lamb look like he's top 3 or 4. Bit Lady, good morning, Coach and the Duke crew. Getting ready for Dallas. Saw the St. Brown Brothers podcast. Great listening to how MCDC is a motivator and Sewell is our on the field leader. Give him a new contract. Yeah, and I'm going to imagine that this offseason you'll see St. Brown get a new contract. Panay, I think they still will wait another year to sign him. But either way, I don't think either guy's leaving this town, for another team. All right, Robert, up early. I see Jason Berry. All right, good for that. Yeah, Jason's here, and I'm glad that you're joining us this morning. All right, Robert, let's see. Went back and watched last year's game against the Cowboys. If it wasn't for our goal line fumble, they may have been a whole different outcome to the game. We are a better team now. Yeah, to your point, we gave them a lot of fits last year, and that's part of the reason why I was saying with our running game, I think we'll continue to give them fits. They're probably going to have to overly commit to stopping the run to limit Detroit in those regards. So then it's going to come down to really the onus will be on the passing attack. Goff, you're going to have to keep him clean. I think the receiver rooms and the tight end room are better now than they were at that point. To your point there, Robert, when we played them last year. Can't beat yourself, and unfortunately for the Lions last year, that's ultimately what happened. I think they basically beat themselves and gave the ball up too many times and just let Dallas off the hook, I guess we could say. All right, Bit Lady. Good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Wait a minute, I feel like I already read this one. Yeah, we did. All right, so it just got posted twice. Sorry about that. Jason, yes, sir. Wouldn't miss the show. Exclamation point. Subscribe and share. 10K subscribers by the Super Bowl, baby. Woo! If we can have that kind of growth, man, yeah, that would be awesome. So, hey, I'm just trying to get to 4,900. I think we need 10 more or something like that, and then another 100 to get to 5,000. But you know what, Jason? You're going to make 10K happen. I would be thankful. All right, Lions #1 fan. Greetings and salutations all. This Dallas game is going to be a huge test for us and one I can't wait to pass. I like the way you worded that, man. Yeah, it will be a big test because let's be honest. Everybody in the media, everybody in the NFL knows Dallas hasn't lost at home this year. They're a tough out at home. Detroit comes down. They've regained some momentum clearly since they're kind of up and down November. They go into Dallas and get that win. Yeah, that's going to turn a lot of heads. Anybody who's a naysayer on the Lions, they're going to come back and say, you know what? Just maybe the Lions are for real. All right, Boo, what do you got? That AG presser was interesting. How much of it was directed at fan service versus what he really wants? The only thing, here's what I can say, Boo, and everybody listening, he's clearly identified some of his loyalties, I guess you could say, to Tracy Walker. He had to move on from. Tracy Walker, I think, is a great teammate. I think he's a great Lion, but doesn't mean he's great at certain aspects of the game. We've talked ad nauseum about it on the show that Tracy Walker is phenomenal at running forward and hitting people. He's very good at that. He's just not good at coverage. Going back to Jeff Okudah a year ago, I think it's no coincidence he had his best game maybe of his career against Dallas. Why? Because they basically moved him to safety for that game and allowed him to just go forward in hitting people, just like Tracy Walker. And he cleaned up in the running game. He did great in shorter intermediate passes. He was allowed to play more zone coverage versus man coverage. And, in fairness to Okudah, he wasn't horrible at man. It's just he kept getting matched up with the other team's #1 or #2 receiver. And he's just not that dude. So Tracy Walker, I think the best thing AG did was say, hey, Ife Melifonwu is somebody who can cover. We have a lot more flexibility in our defensive schemes with him out there versus trying to have to cater to Tracy Walker. And that's tough for a lot of coaches to do, believe it or not, especially when you get to know people, when you're friendly with them, you get to know them as a human being, not just, a player. So, Boo, I guess the long answer to your question is I think he's being very sincere about what he's saying, AG that is, and I think he is evolving as a coach. And again, kudos to him. It's never easy to have to sit somebody when you've gotten to become friends with them, but you have to make the right call for the team. And it looks like he's gotten to the point where he's more worried about what's best for the team than trying to help somebody along. All right, Trump, what do you got? We're going to slap the doo-doo out of Dallas's mouth. All right, I see what you did there, and I hope you're right on that. All right, Southwest, a letdown would not surprise me at all, given the magnitude of what the Lions accomplished in winning the division. Having said that, they have an opportunity to give Dallas their first home loss. Yeah, so Is MCDC as big of a motivator as we think? Is this team really trying to prove themselves against one of the top teams in the NFL? All these things will come into play. I'm anticipating the Lions are going to come out here, and yeah, it's going to be a slugfest. If they get ran over, that would not be ideal, obviously. But competitive game, go down there, and if you pull off that win, man, you are going to be riding high as a Lions fan going into those playoffs. Because I do believe at that point, depending on how things shake out, who knows what will happen with that last game against Minnesota? Is there a reason for us to really grind? Do we rest players? All those things are coming factor that the lead up into that final regular season game. All right, Michael, Lions fan number one, agree wholeheartedly. I agree with what you're agreeing about. Robert, I do believe our offense can be indefensible, and this is a game for some trickery. Yeah, there's other than trying to win I shouldn't say other than trying to win, but other than trying to win the number 2 seed or potentially the number 1, there's no pressure on us. And Dallas is going to come into this game. Conversely, they're not going to drop in seeding. They're not going to elevate in seeding. So there's no pressure on them. I think you're going to see 2 teams coming out there with every trick play in the book. They're going to do everything they can to get this win, because really at the end of the day, if the things don't work, it doesn't impact you hugely. Detroit, I think you could say, has more to lose than Dallas. But it also means I think Detroit is going to be a lot more free with their play calling, saying, hey, we got a shot at this. We're going to go after it. So hopefully that doesn't mean we see fourth in everything Dan Campbell out there going for it all the time. All right, Trump, Dallas released the linebacker after weed arrest. I did see that yesterday, and we'll see how much that impacts things, but you're going to eat into that depth if nothing else. Now, somebody else who hasn't been in that spot is going to have to play a whole lot more meaningful minutes. Drake, greetings and salutations all. Not working today, so I can make the live show. Well, congrats and welcome to the show this morning. Coach, any thoughts on how AG and the defense should play this game? I think you're going to see a lot more corners on islands this game. I think you're going to see us crowd the line with 8 people at the line of scrimmage or in the box all the time. Now, what I want to see is, are they putting safeties, like Iffy, for example, out wide on the line of scrimmage, or are they keeping 3 guys, 2 linebackers, 1 safety in the second tier of the defense? To me, that will be a big tell what their plan is really. I think if it's me, I'm probably moving Iffy over outside Hutchinson or whoever you're going to have start on the other side, because that's going to make him somebody who can pick up a back leaking out. If there happens to be a tight end on that side, he'll be picking them up as well. The other part is the potential for the blitz is a lot stronger with him up there. You can do some of the delayed blitzes. I just don't think the Lions at this point in the season, they haven't shown anything the regular season so far where their delayed blitzes are highly effective. I think it's just for whatever reason, not their strength, but I would be a lot more interested in seeing that second tier basically spread out to the edges. And if you do that, you're probably seeing a lot of heat coming after running backs and Dak Prescott on a regular basis, which I'm a fan of. All right, Robert G. Them home winning streaks have to end eventually. They do. Why not Saturday night? Agreed. Great point on that, man. Yeah, at some point, nobody wins forever. Why not help them restart that winning trend with a loss here this weekend? All right, Southwest, I don't think AG was playing to the fans in the presser, but even if he was, I'm glad to see that he has shown some flexibility, willingness to change. They're getting more sacks, turnovers. They're causing more problems for opposing offenses. They still have some real deficiencies out there. I think we all get it. They really won't be able to address anything until the offseason with it. It'll be nice to have CJ Gardner-Johnson back, potentially Houston for the regular season finale. That will definitely help as far as our depth and some of our talent overall on the team. But other than those guys coming back, this is it. This is who we got to work with. You don't have enough talent on the defensive side to just play a more conservative approach. So you're going to have to make up for what you don't have there with more aggressive approaches. All right, Michael, howdy, Dan, and Lions division champs taking care of business. Yes, and good morning to you too, Michael. Hopefully you're having a great one. Dave Goff can continue to show he's the future and another strong performance in this game. Yeah, and he's had 2 pretty good games. If he goes out, this game and against Minnesota, to end the regular season with what he's been doing of recent. Yeah, I mean, Detroit's going to have, again, I know we've talked about it for a while on the show, but Detroit's going to have a real interesting offseason between him and Hooker. It's going to be real telling if we go into the start of next year and have not extended Goff at that point. It says, man, this is an open competition. At least to me, it says it's an open competition, and they're going to make Goff do everything they can to say, yeah, we need to commit to him versus potentially looking at someone like Hooker or whoever for a younger, less expensive contract. Yeah, of course, the other part of that is he's got 1 year left on the contract. You could always franchise him 2 straight years after that. So worst case scenario, you keep Goff 3 more years, not having to overly commit for a long period of time before making a choice on a contract extension. All right, Southwest, if they can just get the ball to Gibbs or JMO on the run in the middle of the field, watch out. Yeah, and I got to imagine that's part of the game plan, man. Robert, greetings and salutations, all formerly of the 49735 area code. You're going to help me out, man. I don't know area codes like that. So if you want to tell me, Robert, what area code that is, I'll look for it in the comment section below. Tori, greetings and salutations, all. Same to you. Hopefully you're having a great one. Boo, I hope you are right, Southwest. Me too, man. Me too. Trump, we should sack Zach at least 3 times. You know, I think there's a strong possibility we will. Again, watching some of his game tapes and such just from this year, you know, I think he has evolved as a quarterback definitely over his years. He's no longer as mobile or trying to escape the pocket as he was. You know, injuries, age, all those things come into play. He's, you know, evolved more as a passing quarterback, so give him kudos for that. But I will say this, one thing I did take in my notes is watch his ability, or his delay, I should say, Prescott. If you take away the number 1 read and the number 2 read consistently from him, he struggles once he has to get to read 3 or 4. Some of that's on the offensive line. I think we know there's a possibility the Cowboys could be without one of their tackles for this game. It's just Dak Prescott, you know, he's improved a ton since when he was drafted, but he still struggles going through multiple reads on a consistent basis. Now, if the Lions can get pressure on him early in the game, and he already, when calm, struggles to go through that many progressions, you know, and a lot of people would. You take away read number 1, number 2, a lot of people, that inner clock starts, you know, breaking down, and you don't always get to number 3 or 4 reads in your progressions. Lions get pressure on him early in the game and keep it on, he could really struggle, and that could lead to a few turnovers for the Lions. Be honest, you get a couple of turnovers from Dallas, you can put them probably in a whole lot of less than advantageous situations having to keep up with this Lions offense. All right, Lion King. Lions number 6, Melifonwu, is the truth. Yeah, he's playing pretty great, and if he can continue that going into this offseason, into the postseason, man, it's a big weapon for this defense for sure. All right, Clark Griswold. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you too. All right, let's see. Southwest, I've seen some growth in both of our coordinators over the last couple of games. Let's hope it continues. Yeah, they have. And, you know, the good thing about those struggles in November is it forced change. It forced growth. It's easy when you're winning to keep doing what you've been doing because there's no reason to alter. I've been winning. We've been successful. Why would I change what I'm doing? A problem becomes is we all, if, you know, people have been in the show for a while, would all say that, hey, when we got to that first Chicago game, Chicago clearly identified some adjustments they were going to do with their defense, and it confronted and confused Goff and Ben Johnson. What has happened since then is both have changed and evolved. Those things that Chicago led and into causing us some confusion, Green Bay mimicked and again caused some confusion. But both sides of Goff and Ben Johnson have figured out ways around those things. Now you're forcing teams to have to come up with other nuances that will catch us off guard. And the more you can keep evolving, the more you become difficult to handle because you have internally answers for more situations as they happen live. That's one of the advantages veteran quarterbacks and veteran coordinators have, is they already know how to address different topics before they become real big issues. Aaron Glenn needs some praise too, though. He has figured out, hey, I've got to move on from some guys on this team and go with other guys because it gives our defense a lot more flexibility and less predictability. So give them both props. All right, Boo SE. All right, I'm not sure what you're going with there, so help me out, buddy. Sorry about that. Just this team continues to develop. Same with the coaches. I would agree with that. Yeah, they're all evolving. Most of this team, the players are pretty young and not horribly experienced. Same could be said with the coaching staff. So all the experience they're getting and accumulating just makes them more and more difficult to handle. All right, Brent, I think MCDC will have to win a playoff game in order to get Coach of the Year. Thoughts? Probably, yeah, it would probably definitely help put a stamp down on his case for it. Obviously, we're all aware of the story. Probably a lot of people when he was hired, national media, traditional media, whatever say, other coaches in the league probably didn't think a whole lot of this guy. And I know there were detractors even here in Detroit from him because they said, hey, he's a meathead or whatever. But you know what? The guy is sincere. Players respond well to him because they know when he talks to them, it's the truth. He's not giving them lip service. He's not trying to, hey, woo them over, whatever. He's being as genuine as he can be. He is also, give him credit, he's put people in position to make choices for the offense, defense, development of the players, all that stuff that aren't his strength. He's relying on them, and that's difficult for most head coaches. Most head coaches, because the way you're wired as a coach, you hate giving up control of different aspects of the game. But MCDC, Motor City Dan, you need to give them all some props and understand coaches like him are incredibly rare, if nothing else, for the ability to say, I know I'm not great at this aspect of the game. I'm going to rely on somebody else to do it. Most will not do that. All right, Boo, Southwest drew that. Okay, now I see where you're going. All right, Bruce Wayne, AG looks better as he gets more talent to work with. Yeah, and most coaches will. Most of them can look pretty bad when they just don't have talent around them. Now, you start getting a little bit more talent. You start being able to be a little bit more assertive, aggressive, creative. You start looking a whole lot better. All right, Trump's Goff biggest problem is what weapon to use. Yeah, he's got a lot of weapons to choose from. So really, whatever the defense is giving you, you get to take it. I know it's an old adage, but the Lions can hurt you with so many different offensive weapons. Yeah, it's, I'm not going to say they're like the 2000 Rams, but they're getting pretty close to that. All right, Big M. Good morning, Dan and the chat family. Dallas is about to get their first loss at home. Woo! Go Lions. Big M, I like the way you're thinking, and yeah, I think there's a high probability of that. All right, just say Kate, greetings and salutations. Going to have me a morning dew today while listening to the show. Well, hopefully you're enjoying the show and enjoy that dew. I still got about half hour or so till I get to mine. All right, Jerome, good morning, morning, coach. I'm confused with what to limited practices means as opposed to full practices. What is the difference exactly? I never played organized football. So a limited practice means, for the most part, you're not going through the team drills. So let's just say they're going to do walkthroughs or scrimmages on how to handle this situation, that situation. They're not going to allow limited participants to go through that. You're, for the most part, over on the sideline working with your positional coaches. They're just going to be as, probably not the best way to phrase it, but as gentle with that individual as possible. They know that person is dealing with an injury or some sort of factor that they don't want them on the field, going in pads or even unpadded practices where there's tons of physical contact. They want to try to basically allow that participant to heal up as much as possible before the upcoming game. Full participants, hey, you're healthy, you're good to go. You're out there slamming bodies, you're blocking, you're hitting, all that stuff. It just, whether or not it's padded or not, at this point in the season, I'm going to guess the Lions have used all their padded practices. Don't hold me to that. I haven't kept count. That's just my anticipation. So, Jerome, hopefully that helps. Boo, what do you got? Trump, good problem to have. Yes, I agree. Southwest, congrats to Ife Malafano on being named NFL Defensive Player of the Week. Well-deserved. I agree. He has positively transformed this defense because of his presence. They're getting more sacks, turnovers, right, and more coverage skills. And again, not beating the dead horse here, but he's not the only reason, but he's one of the biggest reasons they've been able to be more flexible with the responsibilities of the defense and what they're going to show and then give to opposing teams. All right, Trump, I'm willing to bet Campbell. I had a long talk with AG. There could be some truth to that. It would not be unheard of for a head coach to offer their thoughts to a coordinator on what they'd like to see happen more and more. Ultimately, we'll probably never know what led to the transformation. We just know that it's here. And hey, just be thankful that it has happened. Dennis, good morning. Go Lions. Good morning to you too. Jerome, hey, coach, is Dak Prescott considered a mobile quarterback or just a pocket passer? He's mobile for sure. He's evolved into more of a pocket passer. I think some of that is, he's been in the league a few years now. He's taken some hits. He's had some injuries. The unfortunate part with a lot of mobile quarterbacks, there's two ways to look at it. There are guys that can escape the pocket, and then they just, they don't think about how big and strong and fast these NFL defenders are. Those hits can add up exponentially quickly. I mean, you look at, what's the Jaguars quarterback? Trevor Lawrence. He's mobile. He can get out of the pocket, but he's also this year taking some shots, and those shots are starting to impact his throwing mechanics, his footwork, just because he is getting beat up. Dak Prescott, I think, now tries to stay in the pocket more and more because he's trying to preserve his body. He understands, he's had some injuries, and if he takes the wrong shot, the wrong injury, he's probably out for a while. And at this point in the season, there's just very little recovery time. How much is that going to impact the Cowboys if Dak Prescott goes out for multiple games? And I would say this in short, Jerome, I guess I should just say this. He's more of a pocket passer who can scramble nowadays. All right, Lions King, Jerry World Saturday night. Lions stout O-line versus Dallas D-line. Lions win. I'll take that in a heartbeat. Southwest, Trump's a genius. Yep, I think that's probably true. Campbell needed to talk to AG. Could be, yeah. And one thing I'd say from what I know of AG is he is, like a lot of people who are athletes or coaches, you're a little stubborn. You stick to what your guns are, and people start talking to you saying, hey, maybe you need to do this. It makes you even more stubborn. So the only thing is, if MCDC did talk to him, then you know what? You can't be stubborn there because that's your boss. All right, Robert, win out, and it's number 2 seed lock, baby. Yes, I agree. Yeah, we win out. We'll get the number 2 seed. Trump, right on time. Yep, right on time. All right, Brent, I hope we see more 2 running back sets. I think we will from time to time. It may not become our norm, but you're probably going to see it more and more. Phil, good agrees and salutations. Same to you, Phil. Nice new guitar you got there. And you know what? You do great work, buddy. Southwest Line, Brent, yes. I'd like to see 2 back sets more than we have seen, especially against this team with their pass rush. Yeah, you're gonna want to keep the pocket as clean as possible for Goff. All right, gun guy, Goff MVP. He might be, especially if with 2 more strong performances. I don't know if he'll win it, but he'll definitely be in the conversation for it. Morning, coach. Let me know when I can get a Lions Talk Live t-shirt. I will wear it proudly. I'll talk to Jen today. Like I said, I know the site or whatever is up. I just don't think it's fully functional yet. She was telling me something about it yesterday that like you can see the products, but you can't order them yet or whatever. So I'll ask her for an update and try to get that to you guys tomorrow morning. All right, Big M, remember when Micah Parsons said that nobody wanted to play in Detroit? That has to be fuel for the coaches and players. Going to be a good game. Prime time, baby. Yes. Somebody's always got to go. I mean, the Lions haven't lost a prime time game. The Cowboys haven't lost a home game. So somebody's is about to go. Man Bear, good morning all. Good morning to you too. Southwest, Dan, Cowboys move Parsons around frequently to free him up in the pass rush. Lions should do the same with Hutchinson in third and long situations. They should. And I know we've talked, everybody in the chat, we've talked about this for a while. They've begun to do it a little bit more in the last few weeks. They just haven't done it as much as they did last year. I think it would be an ideal move for them to get back to that. Parsons, to your point, yeah, they do move him around a lot. Just make sure no blockers get comfortable with them. I think the one problem they're going to have with him is if we're able to continuously run throughout the game, he's a whole lot less effective in the run defense. All right, Dave, we got at Ford Field. Do we have a Lions roar to celebrate like the Vikings horn or Bucks cannon? Just the one dude, the singer, and you all know who I'm talking about. I don't know the gentleman's name, unfortunately. He does a great job with it, but I guess that would be our answer to it or our equivalent of it. Bit Lady, I would like for the Lions, I would like it if the Lions were the number 1 seed, but not expecting it. I think with our young team and coach, The time off would be significant for them to try and game plan, prepare any injury upgrades. Yeah, if we were able to get it, that would be huge. If nothing else, you've already got a win in the postseason, that you're on to the next round of the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. It's going to take a lot of things going right for that to happen, but it is, to your point, Bit Lady, it is a possibility. Ed, good morning, Coach. Dallas versus Detroit playoff record is Dallas 18, 12, and 0. Okay, I'll take that. All right, 144. March will be ready in due time. All right, I like it. All right, one funky. If Goff is in the MVP talk, where is Dak in that combo? Right now, Dak has more TDs, fewer picks, and higher completion percentage with all the worst O-line and worse weapons. He's probably in it as well as far as the NFC. As far as where you're going to rank people this year, man, I leave that stuff to other people. I just don't worry about it. What I can say is in regards to Dak and Goff, they've had pretty good seasons. I think we can all agree on that. They both have had moments where they've kind of regressed. But some of that is give credit to the other teams for coming up with stuff that maybe you weren't as prepared for. That does happen. I mean, a lot of people, if they're not as experienced in sports, they expect just because you did this one week that you're going to replicate it every week. And that's unless you're Michael Jordan or something, that just doesn't happen. You've got to be pretty rare to be able to do things that consistently at a high level over and over again. So we'll see where the MVP race goes. But yeah, I've got no say in it. Dennis, due time. You were about right, man. We're about 20 minutes away. All right, Big M, run the ball and keep running. Set up the play action for Goff. Let Gibbs do his magic and let Monty run it down their throats. Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of stuff out of both those running backs come Saturday night. Motown morning, let's do this thing. Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is going to be a huge game, and it will be for both teams. But, man, for the Lions, going down to Dallas, getting a big win, that would be massive. Maybe last time I really remember us winning a huge game down there. It's sad, man, but it was probably Scott Mitchell on a Monday Night Football game. They pulled it out, and I want to say he only completed like 45% of his passes, but he did hit some big passes that game. All right, Jerome, morning, Coach. Can players treat their own injuries? They can, for sure, and some of them do. Some of them do holistic remedies or treatments. They still probably work along with the team's physicians and medical staff to help recover. But I do know a lot of them go out on their own to try to treat their body, whether it be preventative maintenance or post-injury maintenance, however you want to word it. All right, Nathan, morning, Duke crew. Good morning to you too, Nathan. Hopefully you have a great one. Southwest Line, Bit Lady. I love that St. Brown's podcast. The Lions need to sign St. Brown to a long-term contract. He's the total package, talented team player. Yeah, and I think this offseason you'll probably see him get something. How much? I have no idea. Probably somewhere in the 18 to 20 mil a season would be my guess, and probably looking 4 to 5 years, somewhere around those lines. All right, Ed, what do you got? Dallas beat us 7 playoff games in a row from 60 to 70. Worst game was Dallas 59 to 13 in 68. That's a bad one, man. But you know what? These are the brand new Lions, not the same old Lions. Let's see if we can turn those things around. Motown Mitch, what do you got? Lions plane is greatly overrated. When they went into that Vikings game, 17th ranked in pass blocking, that's not what everybody has hyped up. No, it's not. But you know what? You just got to be the right team on the right day, on the right time to move forward. All right. Let's see, Ed. My point is Dallas always plays us hard. This game means a lot to them and us. Correct. Both teams have a reason to play here. All right. Bit Lady, Southwest Lion, totally. And I know, and as you know from the podcast, our team is a bunch of unselfish players. So I think there's a little bit of a hometown discount available. But being said, he should be fairly paid. Yeah, and I got to imagine, Amon-Ra he'll get a pretty nice contract out of the team. That would be my anticipation. All right, Motown, O-line, not whatever that was. Correct. All right, go with that. Trumps, I bet Goff would run a killer Statue of Liberty play. It could be, man. I mean, he is not the most mobile dude out there. So, yeah, I get you. Southwest, what impresses me about Goff's performance against Vikings, he completed over 70% of his passes against the Vikings team that blitzes a lot. He does. And you know what? For the most part, I mean, it doesn't mean they never got pressure on him, but the hoopla behind the Vikings and their system on defense, give the Lions a lot of credit. It really was held in check the majority of that game. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but very few things are. Ben Johnson, the old line, Goff, the weapons on offense, that entire offense, how about this? Needs some praise for that performance. Randy, the Lions' run game is better than the Bills and James Cook. They beat Dallas by 2 touchdowns. They did, but, again, what's happened in the past is not always prelude to what's going to happen in the future. It's just hard to always replicate things. I think the Lions do have some very good matchups for their offense versus the Dallas defense. Everybody's got to stay healthy, do their assignments, etc. And then a lot of it's going to come down to what our defense can do to limit the Cowboys. So I think we've got a good chance here to win this. All right, Southwest Bitley, agree. If you want to keep the core together, I think all these players are going to have to take less than max dollar. And I would say you look at the personalities they've assembled on this team, that would probably be pretty consistent with it. I think as long as the big thing is going to be to get that first person or two to re-sign. And if the expectation, let's just say St. Brown, the best he's going to be able to get, or the max is going to be $22 million a year. Can he get him to take 19? Because that trickles down. Everybody else sees, hey, you know what? He got a real good deal. He didn't get the max deal. I'm going to do the same because I want this guy to be here, that guy to be there. I want to, help keep the family together. We'll have to wait till the offseason to see. Trump, I bet sack the stuff out of Zach. I hope so, man. I hope they put him on the ground early and often and repeatedly, because that's only going to help us. Mile marker, good morning. 11-4. If we lose the coin toss to Dallas, what's the trick to make our D stop their opening drive? If it's me, man, and they didn't ask me, but I would be so over the top aggressive, saying, hey, we're either going to smash your quarterback, stop your running game, or you're going to hit some big shot against us. There will be no middle in between with me. And we'll see if that's the approach they go with. But I know you guys will probably already say it, blitz the heck out of them. And I think that's what they need to do. Dr. Detroit, Dallas has a bit to play for. I hope it's a knockdown, drag out Lions win. Yeah, they've got some outside chance to still win their division. I do think they want to defend the home turf and not, going to the postseason, having lost 3 games in a row or whatever it ends up being. So yeah, they do. And I'm with you, Dr. D. Let's get that win. Southwest, Dr. D, Dallas has a lot to play for. They don't want to finish number 5. They want to finish, number 5 seed, which means they're likely having to win 3 games on the road. Yeah, and hey, they're gonna go. I'm guessing they'll face the Bucs in the first game. It's not a huge road trip for them by any means, but they do seem to perform vastly better at home than they do on the road. All right, Trump, let's blitz. Yes, I agree. Keep the heat on them. One funky coach. All that stuff you said about Parsons is what I've been trying to say when Lions fans wanted to draft him to play the Mike. I got told I didn't know football and he would be a great Mike. I mean, he does, to your point, One Funky, he does some things very well. It's just, some things he also doesn't do well. And that's why I made the comparison to James Houston. Everybody's different, and I'm not telling any coaching staff what to do. I can only tell you James Houston and Parsons, absolute game wreckers in certain aspects of the game. They're also less than ideal in certain aspects of the game. I get this coaching staff want to go with Charles Harris because he was more balanced, I guess you could say. But to me, all the years I've coached, I could care less about balance. You don't have to be good at everything, but if you're a game changer at one particular aspect of the game, now it's on me to help figure out schematically a way to augment your weaknesses and deficiencies. I think there's enough dudes on this team from the Lions standpoint that can help mask Houston's less than ideal abilities in the run defense where, hey, I'm going to have him out there all the time. And when they do pass, that dude's going after the quarterback. Micah Parsons is no different. He goes after the quarterback, and he does it incredibly well. But in the run defense, I'd be going at him a ton. All right, David, can't wait to get to Dallas. I'm bringing us the dub back. I like that you're being unselfish, going down there and helping the team bring the dub back. That's very good of you, man. And David, I hope you have a great time at the game, man. All right, answer 14. Great salutations, Dan. The Duke Crew Lions lean on the running game and win going away 31-24. Let's go. I'll take that in a heartbeat, man. I like the way you're thinking, 14. All right, Southwest. I think Dallas is vulnerable to the run, especially if Hankins is out. He's 50-50 to play. Yeah, and even I'll say this: with if he comes out and he's limited participant or no participant today, yeah, he's pretty banged up, and you're gonna see even if he's out on that field, man, I'd be putting a lot of tests on him early and often because how long can he hold up and how well can he hold up throughout the game? That will be a big thing. Broski, lyrics, okay. Can you name that song? I cannot. I don't know what song we're talking about, so we'll go with that. Sorry about that, man. And answer 14. Did you know that the Lions lost a playoff game to Dallas in 1970? Final score was 5-0. What a clunker. Not this Saturday. Yeah, I am aware of that loss. I would also say I think the chances of repeating that this weekend are fairly minimal. Southwest line, I think their best bet is to run at Parsons, double team him, hit him. Yeah, and I know I talked about it earlier this week, watching the last few games of the Cowboys. You saw a lot of zone runs, backside flips, where they line up going one way, but they pull someone in motion and hit the backside of the line, the weak side of the line, and teams have been very effective with that. Dallas has not negotiated that well. So what that means is you got your 5 dudes on the line of scrimmage. You're putting a tight end over on this side, maybe even a fullback leaning that direction. And then what happens is once the defense is committed, lined up to basically be equal to you, now you pull the tight end or the fullback and you hit the weak side. Yeah, they've gotten roasted on that a lot by a couple different teams. I have to imagine that'll be no different than what we'll probably see out of Detroit. Doesn't mean they'll happen all the time, but you're going to probably see Lions try to hit them in the backside of the line. All right, Broski, Bear, good morning, Bear. Thanks for joining the North Division title celebration. Kudos to you for coming back to support. Yeah, 100% for that. Broski, I think most of us know he's a Bears fan, or at least I believe so. And the fact that he's in the chat and even showing some support, bravo to him, man. All right, Trump, let's just hope the refs stay out of the game. Hey, refs are part of the game. The only thing I can say is I don't always agree with the calls, but I've learned focus on what you can control, not what you can't. Otherwise, it will drive you nuts. All right, Boo, I like your BTO reference. All right. Robert G, let's all help Dan, the man, out. Smash that thumbs. All right, Robert said it. So, hey, if you guys haven't yet subscribed or hit the thumbs up button, please take a moment of time and consider doing so. All right, Big M, Bit Lady, glad to see you are back in the chat. Hopefully you are feeling better. Hopefully, for sure. All right, Dennis, we're going to rush over 200 yards. Watch. Now, that is something. We get that. Yeah, the Lions probably should win. All right, Bit Lady. Something not really talked about in the Vikings game, but Detroit gave up a lot of chunk. Yeah, they did. Way too many 20-plus yard plays. Way too many. That has to stop against Dallas. Yeah, you're not going to win many games if you give up 5, 6, 7, 20-plus yard plays. So to your point, yeah, that's definitely got to be addressed. Answer 14, another thing to consider is Lions get number 1 seed by winning out, and Rams beat the 49ers last game of the season. That's not too far-fetched. No, it's not. And the Rams, give them credit. They've been playing well, and not the team I would want the Lions to open up the playoffs against. So hopefully we can avoid that. Bit Lady, Big M, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Back to normal now, but I think there's still seems to still be a couple of Duke crew members still sick. Hope they are doing better too. Yeah, I know I haven't heard anything from David or Devin. Hopefully get some sort of update on them, or Devin's son, I should say. Hopefully get some updates on them, and hopefully you're all doing well. Hopefully you're all doing well as well. Big M, no turnovers. Lions win if they protect the ball. I agree with that. Broski, at Bit Lady, good morning. Hope you have an amazing day and Happy New Year. Same to everybody in the chat. Same to you, Broski. Trump's everything good with Monty? I believe so. Yep. Nobody can name that song. I can't. So hopefully somebody else can. All right. Roy, happy Thursday. Great opportunity for the Lions. 100% agree, and hopefully you're having a good one. Southwest, Bit Lady, yeah, they gave up a lot of chunk plays, but they got 4 interceptions. Should have been 5 if Branch doesn't drop an easy one in the end zone. Yeah, and plus don't forget the fumbles. They force some turnovers for sure. And yeah, the Lions defense keeps doing that. You're gonna win some games. Big M, prayers for all those that get sick, get healthy and well. 100% agree. Trump's run the ball, keep it out of Dallas's hands. That would be great. Yeah, control the game, control the clock, keep their defense on the field, keep their offense on the sidelines. Southwest, exactly, Dan. Vary who you blitz, put stress on the quarterback and offensive line. I agree. Detroit, Dr. Detroit, I remember when I said that and everyone was telling me I didn't know stuff. It takes 3 years for a cornerback to develop. Yes, it does. And you know what? If he is in year 3, I think, or is it 4? Pretty sure it's 3. All right, Anthony, greetings all, coach. Anyways, for me to DM you, if you want to go into the description of the videos, I think you can find my Facebook on there, and you can send me a direct message there. Yeah, so go ahead and look it up there. Patrick, I have the same feelings about the Dallas game that I had about the KC game at the start of the year. I believe the Lions will win this walking away. I like the way you're thinking, man, 100%. Roy, I believe we are peaking at the right time while getting key players back on defense. The playoffs started on Sunday, and we have a good chance against Dallas. We are one of the better road teams. We are, and the Lions under Campbell have been very good on the road. Let's be very frank about that. JP, go Lions, run the football in Dallas. I think that you will see a healthy amount of running. Justin, we will beat Dallas. We are a competitive team and don't like losing. Brand new Lions. I like your mantra there, brand new Lions. Yeah, I think the nation's going to be watching. The Lions want to give them something to see. Broski, No Time to Think, a song by Bob Dylan. All right. I wouldn't have guessed that offhand, man. So thanks for that. Justin, we'll beat Dallas. We're a competitive team. Yep, I get that. Michael, Goff needs to take a couple Deb's shots, a couple deep shots to JMO and keep the defense honest and run the ball like they did with Denver. Yes, I agree. Keep the pressure on the defense. Don't let them get comfortable. Dominic, good morning from Texas. Lions finished 13-4, breaking another record, ending Dallas' home streak, and clinched number 1 round bye with the help of old QB Matthew Stafford. Let's go Lions. Let's make that happen, man. Silver Surfer, Dallas 15-1 last 16 home games. Let's make that 15-2. Michael, just shared this podcast on my Facebook page and asked to subscribe for free. Thanks for that, man. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, it would be interesting to see where we can go by the end of the season. So thanks for that, buddy. Michael, what do you got? They undefeated at home. We undefeated in prime time. Need a couple turnovers. Yeah, let's make that. Let's hope the defense can make that happen. Southwest, I expect Dallas to load the box. Detroit needs to do more pre-snap motion. Start with play action. Yeah, I agree. Don't be predictable on first down, especially if Dallas is going to, like you're putting, overload the box, try to take away the run game, make them pay over the top then. Mile marker at Dominic. That is my opinion too. Let's see it happen. I picked 13-4 before the season started. So now we have to win out, hopefully. Yeah. Let's start with Saturday, right? One funky Evans being let go is not a big deal. Dude has like 10 tackles in 8 games and barely sees the field. Yeah, I think he's more of a special teams player. So we'll see what shakes out there. But yeah, to your point, yeah, probably not one of their starters. Dr. Troy, I hear he does have good weed, though. It's probably true. It would seem to reason right now. Dominic, Lions D has been playing better and getting more sacks because Bugs return, in my opinion. Yeah, he's been a contributing factor without question. Dr. Troy, so there's that. There is that. Mile marker laughing. All right, one funky. Doc, too bad he plays in the state that weed is still illegal. Yeah, and is what it is. You got to know your surroundings, right? Single dads, JMO breakout finally, maybe, but you know what? Hey, the trend is his friend, man. He's been performing higher and higher level and more consistently. Oh snap, yes. Greetings from Pearson. All right, or prison. Yeah, it's, hey, it happens, man. Hopefully he's okay. Southwest, when Goff is under center, they are going to be looking for the run. Make sure to mix up. Yeah, they're going to have to. And again, you just don't want to be predictable. To your point, Robert. That's so funny, Dr. Detroit. Patrick, Dallas doesn't have that great of an offensive line, so they should have a good sack day. Lord willing. Yeah, get after him and get Dak on the ground. Mark Greens and salutations. All same to you, Mark. Hopefully you're having a good morning. All right, T Chair, what do you got in the Greens and salutations coach in the Lime Green crew? It's due 30 over here. Let's get this win. I've hated Dallas since the 90s, and they picked up flag in the playoffs, sealed my hatred. We need a big win there. Let's flipping go. Yeah, talking about the Lions Stafford game where they picked up the flag. You know, to this day, the big gripe I have, all right, you're saying it's not passing interference, that's fine, but you had, I forget the Des Bryant and a couple other players run on the field, get in the face of official without a helmet. That by rule, now you're entered the playing field without a helmet. That's a flag. Coming off the side or off the sidelines when you're not one of the defensive players out there, that should have been a flag as well. So in the essence, the way I look at it is, man, the refs took away 3 penalties on one play. Dr. Drake, I'm here on Thursdays. Try the fish. All right, try the fish. It is. All right, Gun Guy Goff is going to make the right calls by what he sees on the field pre-snap. Best QB in play action pass. I agree with that. If he's not the best, he's right up there with it. So Southwest Dallas likes to be balanced between run and pass. Shut down the run, make them one-dimensional, and blitz frequently. I agree. Matthew Green says, salutations. Good morning, everyone. Why does the NFL not have more incentive-based contracts? It's just, I mean, they used to have a ton more than what they do now, but the problem is they just kind of evolved beyond it because stakes. You want to sign players and keep them. That's just kind of the direction things are going. I hope it doesn't get to the point with the NBA because, you know, I love basketball to death, but I also think the NBA has really hurt itself exponentially with some of the contracts and guaranteed deals. So, all right, guys, it's been over an hour, so it is due 30 for me. I got to go get the due and then get ready for the day and working. If there is some breaking news later today, of course, I'll try to get it out to you ASAP. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to make that push to get 4,900 and then 5,000. I think we're basically about 100 subs away from 5,000. If you can help out with that, I would be very thankful. Hit the thumbs up button, and we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.